Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sam, and since we are almost in June, I wanted to film another seasonal book recs video because as soon as we're in June, it's summer in my opinion. So I feel like I don't have quite as many book recommendations this time as I did for spring. I was looking through my shelves and through the templates that I post for all of my reads every month and my Goodreads, and I feel like there wasn't a ton of books that scream summer to me, but summer reading for me is very much like the fun, fluffy summertime romance, which I've definitely read quite a bit, and some of my favorites I've talked about over and over again, and then others just didn't hit the way that I was hoping they did. So not a huge list. I'm also really only stuck to romance. Like I said, I mainly enjoy reading like the fluffy, fun rom-coms in the summer, but currently in my current reading state, I'm really in the mood for finishing series that I'm in the middle of and like dark romance, which does not really scream summer, but here we are. So I have a few books that I want to talk about and recommend to you for the summer. And then I have my summer TBR, some books that I am excited to read and are sort of on my radar for this summer. Starting with some recommendations of some books I own. The first book that I have is The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. Now this one for me didn't hit 100%. This is definitely not one of my absolute favorite books that they have written, but this is definitely the summer vibes. Just by this cover, this book just screams summer to me. I feel like everyone has already read this book, but if you haven't, we're following Olive, who is the unlucky twin, always has bad luck. But when everyone at her sister's wedding, except for her and the best man, end up with food poisoning, her and the best man end up going on the couple's honeymoon in their place. Obviously just kind of goes from there. It's some like fake marriage, rivals sort of situation. It's a lot of fun and definitely a fun summery read. And then the next book I have is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I feel like this book got a lot of, not necessarily hate, but this wasn't everyone's favorite when it came out, but I personally loved this book. I thought it was so cute. This is also the second book in the Maple Hills series, and book 3 is coming out, I think, over the summer, maybe this month. I'm very excited to pick up the next book and continue this series, but in this book we're following Aurora and Russ, who meet at a college party and sort of have like a one-night fling, and then they run into each other a couple days later at summer camp where they end up having to work together, and it's just so cute. The communication and like mental health rep in this series as a whole is done really, really well. And I think this is a really fun book for the summer because it takes place, 90% of this book takes place over their summer break and working at the summer camp. I feel like kids can be hit or miss in a lot of books, but I think the kids at the summer camp were really cute and very realistic. So I would definitely recommend this one if you haven't continued this series yet. I would recommend reading Icebreaker first because you get a background of all of the characters and like the found family sort of in this world. It's just so much fun. Next, I have to mention the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. I'm currently in the middle of reading the final book, Hopeless, and I just absolutely love this series. This whole series is like a 5-star series for me. I didn't rate every single book 5 stars, but overall it's a 5-star series. I absolutely love all of our characters. The banter that Elsie Silver does is phenomenal. In this series we're following the Eaton brothers and sort of getting in their own little relationships. We have a bull rider, we have a grumpy ranch dad, an ex-military, a hockey player. So obviously the majority of these characters are related in some way, but the found family aspect in bringing their new partners into the family, and it's just everything. I love their connections. I love their friendships, their romances. Elsie Silver is able to touch on some heavy topics, and This series is phenomenal. As soon as I have space for another bookshelf, I'm definitely buying this series to own it. I absolutely love it so much, but it is on KU, so if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read these for free. The next book that I have on my list is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This book is the epitome of summer to me. I feel like in the book talk community, this book doesn't have the best reviews. I feel like I hear a lot of people say like it was good, but it wasn't great. But for me, this book is like everything about summer. It takes place in like Canadian Ontario cottage country. We are following, of course, I don't remember anyone's name, so I don't have the book with me, but we're following our female main character who, as like a teenager, her family gets like a summer house, like a summer cottage lake house sort of thing. And their neighbors have a couple boys, and the friendship between our female main character and our male main character, their friendship as they grow up is everything until something happens and they don't speak for 10 years. And then something happens to make them come together again. And it just gave me all of the nostalgia to my childhood and growing up and having fun over your summers at like your family cottage. I definitely guessed what was going to happen at the end as I was reading, but I think that it was done really well and it hurt my heart, and I just want the best for our two main characters, so I would definitely recommend that one. The next series that I want to recommend is the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. Like I said at the beginning, I'm in a very dark romance sort of mood, so these are definitely not the darkest romances that I have read. This is like a mafia romance series. This is a series of interconnected standalones where we're following different siblings from each of our families. In book one, we have an arranged marriage between, I think, the Italian and the Irish mafias to try and like mend the rift between them, or to try and mend some feud as well as be a united front in the like mafia world or something. The series is just a lot of fun. They're very quick reads, a lot of like kidnapping and heists and like angsty feelings. I don't know. They're really good. I've only read the first two books, but I'm very excited to continue this series hopefully this summer. And then the last recommendation that I have is a dark fantasy romance sort of vibe. I have The Vicious Lost Boys by Nikki St. Crow. I absolutely loved this series. Each book is only like 250 pages, so they're very quick reads. I think that Nikki did a really good job at adapting the original Peter Pan story into this whole series, this like dark romance series. I found all of our characters to be really interesting. Every book there was like so many reveals and the plot moved very quickly. There wasn't like, it didn't feel like it was being dragged out at all, and I was never bored reading this series. I will say near the end of the series, some of the decisions and the way that some of our characters were behaving was getting annoying, but the, not really a spin-off, but like a novella about some of our side characters has just come out as I am filming this video, so I'm very excited to read that one. I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen next with those characters. But in this one, essentially, we are following Winnie, who is a darling girl, and all of the women in her family have been taken by Peter Pan once they turn 18 and come back damaged because of the sort of like mental torture and terror that happens on Neverland. At the beginning of the series, we start by seeing Winnie at 18 getting taken to Neverland and sort of just following the story from there, and it's a lot of fun. I would really recommend it. Definitely dark and twisty, so check trigger warnings. Okay, so those are all of the book recommendations that I have. A little short list, but I did want to share some of the books that I really love and think work for this summer season. For the books that I have on my summer TBR that I really want to get to very soon, I have two Emily Henry books that I have yet to read. I have People We Meet on Vacation and Happy Place. Happy Place just recently came out in paperback, so I finally have a copy and can read it. I'm very, very excited to read more of Emily Henry's books. I absolutely loved Beach Read. Book Lovers was good. I feel like People We Meet on Vacation are most people's least favorite, but I'm still very excited to read it. I feel like Emily Henry has, the way that she writes is very interesting. Her characters are very well developed, interesting characters that are all different and going through like very real situations. And then Happy Place, I have been wanting to read since it came out. I just have a feeling that I'm really gonna love this one. Also, the flop on this is next level. Very, very excited to read these hopefully very soon. The next book that I have is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I think this book just recently came out and I put it on hold at the library. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to read it before the summer is over, but the wait is very long. I know nothing about what this one is about. I didn't love Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, which was her, I think, came out last year. I just have a really good feeling about this one. I don't know why. There's just something about this cover that, just the cover and the title, that I just think will work for me. So very excited to read that one. I'm hoping it's another 5 stars by Carly Fortune. And then I also have The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This is their new summer release for this year. Again, I have no idea what this is about, but the cover gives very much tropical summer vibes. I don't know, I absolutely love Christina Lauren's older books, but I feel like their newer books have been kind of hit or miss for me. So I do want to get back into reading their backlist as well as reading some of their new releases, because their books are just a lot of fun and I'm very excited to read this new one. Again, I think I put this on hold at the library and the wait I think is pretty long again. So we'll see if I can get to that one. And then the last thing that I have listed on here is the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. This is her first series, I believe, but it ties into the Chestnut Springs series. We see the Eaton sister. I think the first book starts off that series. I'm so excited to have so much more Elsie Silver to still read. Those are all of the books that I wanted to talk about in today's video. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you got at least one recommendation from me that you can put on your TBR for this summer. Let me know down below what books you are excited to read this summer, or if you have any recommendations for me to pick up. I would love to just chock fill my TBR. With that being said, I hope that you have a great rest of your week and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!